There we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Doug, welcome. Well, first off, welcome to my office.
Hey,
Welcome
good to
back.
be here. Walk
Yeah,
across the street, couple of blocks.
yeah, welcome back to Mayor's Monday at WSAU, WSAU.com. Tell us why we are broadcasting from my office today instead of yours.
Well, we had a little incident over at City Hall. We during the freeze up of a couple of weeks ago, we had a pipe burst in the wall
Mm-hmm.
on a radiator, and then Sunday evening at some point, it broke loose and through the night flooded that end of the building from the third floor down through my office and all the way down to the maple room. So
Yep.
we destroyed the ceiling in my office, probably the floor and the drywall. A lot of my documents and books and book collection was damaged.
Mm-hmm.
So probably another couple of days to dry it out, 3, 4, 5 days to dry it out, and then the carpenters will be in to hang some drywall, maybe put some fresh paint back in there, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll be back in operation. So I'm working temporarily down the hall,
Yep.
and we didn't really miss a beat there, but just a little inconvenience. So I'm glad to
Exactly.
be over here.
Yeah, a little inconvenience, and but at the same time, should be taken care of by insurance, right? I mean, this isn't a multi-million-dollar bill the taxpayers are going to be hit with,
No,
right?
this will be an insurance claim, and it definitely was due to the severe weather, and I we'll find out all the factors. But no, it's more of an inconvenience than a cost, but nonetheless, uh, here we are.
Right. And so that aside, everything else has been, I guess, almost smooth sailing at city level, right?
Sure. Um, well, coincidentally, my Jocko Willink book, Extreme Ownership, that had autograph from
Oh,
Jocko
right.
and Leif Babin, one of his slogans is good. Good meaning, well, whatever the issue is, good. Now, so here's an opportunity to clean out my office, get organized, and
Right.
let's make some hay out of it and get a fresh start. In fact, I my new office, I'm looking at the wall, and it seems like it's maybe a little better than looking out the window. So maybe I'll rearrange when I get back in, change change the chi in the room, if you will, and
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
get some new stuff up on the wall.
Absolutely. So, as far as city business goes,
Yeah.
it was just a little more than a week ago. We had the public input session on 1300 Cleveland Avenue. I know you were there. It was a pretty packed room. I stood the entire time in the back there, kind of observing. Never really seen so many residents interested in one topic like that. I know that's something that you like to see.
Yes. Well, if you're talking about engagement, it's nice to have more than 5 or 6 people show up at City Hall. So it was a good effort on behalf of the Southwest Side Neighborhood Group, Thomas Street Neighborhood Group, to get the word out. We used the city conference center over at the wastewater treatment plant, and our staff did some promotions and engagements to promote it, get people aware of it. It was a very cold night. It's below zero. I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably closer to -5 or 6, and we had pretty good turnout for that. And in addition to that, we're going to hold that period of comment open another 30 days. So anyone interested can go online and still take the survey on
Mm-hmm.
1300 Cleveland Avenue.
Yeah. So, what now that you've had kind of a week to digest that, what would have been the biggest takeaways there? And I guess the second part of my question would be: do you see that the city and the residents are kind of in alignment on what you want to see happen at that site? Because obviously the residents, I believe, as one person had said, he says we've been having this conversation for 20 years. We don't want the conversation anymore. We just want you to act on something.
Right, and I think that's where we are in it. We are in that take action mode. It's been a long time coming, but the process is now we've got a handle on it. I believe staff is listening to the neighborhood, listening to the alder in the district. So you probably heard some of the ideas. The number one thing is they're concerned about the environmental impact. Number two is they want non-industrial uses there. So we'll go through that process to collect all those inputs, and then we'll go back to the committee Economic Development Committee, and they'll maybe help us craft that maybe list of things that would be options, and then we'll prepare that eventually for an RFP. I think the intention is to be broad enough to attract proposals,
A range of
a
developers.
range of
Yeah.
development options, and we know then they at least are in the non-industrial category that the residents have had input on. And I think it's going to be a good process. We're learning as we go. We've got some of our staff members looking at maybe formalizing a engagement policy. Who are the right people to contact? What's the radius within that neighborhood that should be getting door hangers and mailings? The language services, is the impact on a disadvantaged neighborhood versus a different neighborhood? What are the processes? It should all be very similar, but we shouldn't be skipping steps in the process. And I the feedback has been good. I think residents trust government more when they're actually have a seat at the table.
Yeah, when they have a chance to make their voice heard, as the old cliche goes. But of course, it's a cliche because it's true, right? And
Yes.
so as far as this process goes, I'm still going to be a year or two. But you think we're at a point where the right action is being put in place? Because I think one thing that residents, or not everybody may be understanding at this time, is the reason the city is doing this is because the city could have access to funds to clean up that maybe a private developer wouldn't. So that's why there is this process in place. So that way we make sure that we're taking advantage of the money available, and that way the developer, whenever they come in, has a clean slate to start with, so to speak.
Sure, and let's not forget though that we purchased it at some point in our history because it wasn't readily developable for anyone else. So the city did take that responsibility. We have a responsible party letter. There is possibility of some indemnification on some of the past things that we'll find there. But ultimately, it is our responsibility. It's the neighborhood's desire. It's the city's desire. You survey every district in the city and ask them, would you like us to move that site to your neighborhood? And what do you think the answer is? Of course not. So, and we made the commitment years ago when we started buying up industry on the river to take industry off of our inner city area and move it out to the industrial park, move it to areas where they're more suited for that kind of activity. So we've been making progress toward that, and I think this hopefully within my term or terms. We'll see something there that's good for the community.
Nice catch, because you knew I was going to catch that. If I say, oh, you're done after, no, unknown at this point. And in that neighborhood as well, on Thomas Street, that area, I should say, you actually had a decision and some news about that this week I didn't get a chance to get to. Tell us about these infill lot sites and what you were able to learn.
Sure. So the infill sites just west of the bridge on Thomas Street, we had engaged Ramble Consultants to do phase 2 and in that area and dig in and take samples. And good news, bad news there, I guess you'd call it. They were able to clear a good portion of those lots that no further action, and we'll be able to get going with some development in there. And then the area furthest west toward that Waleco site, there were issues with groundwater, there were issues with surface to 4 feet there that will have to be remediated. So we'll have to do a plan. So the DNR is going to send us a responsible party letter, and they've already given us the test results, and they will tell us what that process looks like. We'll hire another consultant to do that cleanup work. And where was I going with that? It would be, I guess the good news is we now have light at the end of the tunnel. We know what we want to do there. We want to put single family residential. So what is it going to take? And now this sets that roadmap to make that happen.
Yeah, and that single family residential kind of goes in with the area. Obviously, that area looks a lot different even from when I got here in 2017 today because of the upgrades to Thomas Street, the reconstruction that has happened there. So I'm guessing you're looking for those lots, kind of single family, maybe even some kind of duplex that'll fit with the neighborhood, right?
Yes, single family, and we also did some listening sessions back going on 2 years ago now. On those particular lots, they're going to be fairly close to the street, and as you come over the bridge, it's high traffic. So the nice thing about that was we have an alleyway behind them,
Mm-hmm.
so we already have an idea of how we're going to be able to get people in. They'll have their garage on the back side of the lots, so they're not directly backing into Thomas Street.
Of course.
So we kind of have an idea of what they're going to look like size-wise, and some of the architecture, and that's good. And then the pathway to get there is going to be the result of our consultant and the cleanup effort that will follow. Oh, and by the way, so the DNR will be here for our next Economic Development Committee meeting, and
Yes.
they'll give us a little more breakdown for the public and for the Economic Development Committee to understand, what do the numbers mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a lay person, but when you're talking penta and dioxins, what does that really mean?
Exactly.
Obviously, it's not good on the surface. And they'll describe what those thresholds are and where we want to get them to, and that'll inform us on the process moving forward.
Last thing before we let you go, obviously the city's been looking for some sort of a vendor for the River Life Park. Understand that you've got a concept, a design picked out. We don't know if necessarily it's going to be going to the full city council yet for tomorrow's meeting just yet. It could be, though. Give us an idea of what the committee has moved forward with and why the public or why the users should be excited about this.
Well, that's the concession stand that over the years has been used for ice cream, and that last year it had some other things in it. Sawmill was what the Parks Commission or Parks Committee decided on moving forward with. So they're going to have to work our way through the development agreement there. I think I saw they had some mini golf in there. He's got some neat ideas. But it'll be like a family stop as you're walking the trail. Stop in for an ice cream, stop in for snacks, and play some mini golf. I think it's situated nicely between WOW and the jungle gym over there. So I think it's going to be a good positive. They're excited about it. They've got a neat operation up at the sawmill, so they know what they're doing when it comes to running these things. And you will see it here in the next week as they announce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the other great thing is you're not necessarily competing with WoW, but you're still bringing people into that area for that reason, to recreate. And anytime you do that, obviously, it's good for everyone.
Right, and I think it captures the intent of having that more vibrancy on the river, and as you're walking or biking or just along the trail, it's a quick stop for a snack or a drink, a coffee, ice cream, and hopefully it'll be a little bit of an attractant.
Mm-hmm.
But it was purpose built as a concession stand, and we should be getting our money's worth out of it as much as we can.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor Denny, we always appreciate the time. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Michael, good to be here. Thanks.